Let's quickly go through, we had a panel get together and talk about what were the most important. There were great races, but what were the most important races? And we're going to go through, we chose 6 of them, and many of you show up in those. So Carrie, why don't you take the first one, number 6 there?
Yes, well, he ran in 2002, and he won by the largest margin of victory ever. It was 21 seconds. This is Chris Zielinski. He ran 4:03.80 in high school. He ran 8:43 in high school. He went on to have a wonderful career at the University of Madison, Wisconsin. And then he went on to have a great professional career where he set an American record in the 10,000 meters, but then had some injuries. He was on our first webinar. What an outstanding runner, great guy. And this was our first on our list of the top 6 legendary races.
Probably using 2001 completely to his Foot Locker championships. He's our winner. And his time is 14:40 unofficially. What a great run. Now it's how much is he winning?
Chris Zielinski, awesome guy.
Yeah, he was. He's coaching now too. So number 5 here on our list, which was really one of the most enjoyable races to watch. We go back to 2011. It was Edward Cheswick's first year at Foot Locker. He was in after the and he had him and Vincent Dennis Selassie. What a battle this was. Mano a mano. That final stretch here, Edward had a great finish. And this is one of the fastest races ever. This is 14:53 for Edward, 14:50, or excuse me, 52 for Edward, 53 for Fitsum. But I think what I remember most of this race is the friendship the two of you developed after this, or maybe during that actual race here. And it's the first time, the memory I have when people ask me about Foot Locker and what I remember most, the thing I remember most, Edward, is the banquet. We always let the champions have the last word. We bring up the boys champion, the girls champion. And Edward, you brought up Fitsum that night. Do you remember that?
Yeah, I remember those days, man. That was fun, though. After this moment, we live in Flagstaff, me and Fitsum, and our friendship is still strong after this moment. And back during those times, I remember that bringing Fitsum.
That was so nice. And I knew you guys raced in college and all that. So it's a relationship you still have today then. Is that what you're talking about? Yeah.
Yes, yeah, we still have a very strong relationship now. We live in Flagstaff. Sometimes we do some runs together, and sometimes we meet for coffee.
Outstanding. All right, Carrie, number 4.
Well, it's from 1999. Dathan's here with us today. Dathan's fastest Foot Locker race. He ran it in 14:29. The first 3 from this race were the fastest ever in Foot Locker history. Don Sage ran 14:33 in second. He'd go on to run 4 flat in the track season later that year. Ian Dobson was 3rd, went on to be an Olympian. He ran 14:34 this day. But we had Olympians Brits, Dobson, and Matt Tegenkamp, along with Alan Webb, who's here today, in this race. So 4 Olympians right here from this race in 1999. Dathan came from behind, broke away the last half mile,
cross-country championships with about 800
and won in 14:29. Dathan, what are you thinking about right now when you're looking back at this race?
That race was something else. Such a deep field, people there all the way to the end, and I just remember it being an incredibly hard kick over the last 600 meters or so, and that straightaway just seemed like it lasted forever.
When you're so young running for these big races, how do you think you kept your composure?
Doesn't look like I did. I guess, you don't know any different. You just do the best you can. You get out there, and sometimes that's part of the learning process is you don't know what you're getting into. This is the first time you've raced against these really great runners again, and you just rely on the training and you learn a lot. And I think I took that to the next year. It was something that I believed in myself, and you build confidence, you build strength year after year, and you learn to, people don't walk out the door and become champions. It happens over seasons and years of training, and races like that they're just stepping stones along the way. They were stepping stones to being an Olympian and to breaking American records or U.S. championships. Those were the first moments, and they feel like the biggest thing in the world at the time. But you know, I wasn't composed, honestly. Yeah, you know, like that. I was so nervous, and I got better over time. But it was a learning experience, and so I was just fortunate to have a great group of guys behind me to push me, and a lot of those guys went on to be great.
Pretty impressive, 4 Olympians out of the first 8 finishers in that race. You know, we've been having a good time, and the clock has moved pretty quickly on us. We're going to get to the girls here in a few minutes, and I know some of our guys here have got to go and do some workouts and some other things. So if you have to leave us, please feel free to just give us a wave, and we really appreciate it. So I just don't want you to feel like you have to sit here with us the whole time, because I know some of you have to get going. But let's quickly go on to number 3 here. So you got to go with the fastest race of all time as legendary. And as Kerry mentioned, we had Ruben Reyna with us on that first week. And that's the mark in San Diego, 14:36. That was incredible. In fact, Mark Masselier finished second in that race at 14:41. And that's not only the fastest ever non-winning time, but it's the 4th fastest time ever. So sometimes those races go so fast, 15 minutes seems to be the goal. And all of a sudden in that race, we had 9 boys go under 15 minutes. So it was pretty impressive. Most years we get 1 or 2. And Ruben just looks so good at this point.
The large hill at 2.5 miles has left it too late. And Ruben Reyna will win this, the 7th Kinney Cross Country National Championship. And he is well under the course record. He's going to win it easily from Mark Masselier. Trimatics has faded. And Mark Masselier.
Hey, you know, Kerry, we had Chris Zielinski on. He was claiming that, you should have broke that record, missed it by 2 seconds. We'll have to remind him that Ruben just cruised the last 100 meters there. So he could have run 34 or something. Who knows, huh? All right, let's go to number 2, Kerry.
All right, well, we have 3 of these guys, our top 3 here from the 1986 race.
Arkansas star,
we
Ruben
had
Reyna,
4 future Olympians in this race, but to take the whole thing was Mark Davis. He won in 14:38, 2 seconds off Reyna's course record. And then Todd Williams is second in 14:49. And Bobby Kennedy placing 3rd, who ended up going back the next year in 1987, as we said, and took the whole thing. But I got to ask
Mark
you guys,
Davis led the pack
Mark,
up the
do
course,
you still have bragging rights all these years later over those 2?
No,
definitely not. I mean, I think I beat them that day, and I think the only of the 2 of them that I beat later on was in
the beautiful
in a road mile in Hawaii about 15 years later.
Many spectators
and I think that was everybody was taking it as a vacation, and I took it way too seriously. Other than that, I didn't tend to take charge of the race from the start. I will have to say to Bob, I actually watched that race live when he broke 13 minutes in the 5K. I cried that night as well, because I wished that I was the person that did that. I wanted to accomplish something like that Bob did. And I think that was just an amazing day for American distance running when Bob broke 13 minutes that day in Stockholm. And I really, get back to what I was saying before, I wish that I was that dedicated and motivated, as Bob clearly showed throughout his career and at that pinnacle moment in Stockholm years later. But it was just an honor to run with those guys and be a part of that history, and again, just to carry the theme about the lifelong friendships that we got from that day on, and all the teams we made and places we traveled. It was a great experience.
I still have nightmares of those white shorts.
And
I wake up in a sweat. Mullet. Yeah, I wake up in a sweat 33 years later, and I'm like, there's those white shorts. I can't catch them. And it kept getting further and further away. But no, it was a great time. I mean, just, Bob, myself, Mark, it was, I look back at those clips, it's like, wow, 33 years ago. But yeah, I mean, that was a motivating day for me, because I mean, I really thought I could win, and Mark took off from the gun, and he got to run on his home course. Yeah. I wish I could have ran on my home course. Yeah, but yeah, it was a great day. That was a really good day.
Todd, it's so funny, because my question in my notes was, does this race still keep you up at night? Because I know you so well, and I know that it does.
Yeah, it was, you know, it's one of those things when I went out there, it was, you know, I told Coach Bork, I'm like, man, I think I'm going to just go from the gun, right? I'm going to just hammer from the gun. And the gun goes off, and that was Mark's plan because, I mean, he was out in front. And like I said, I can just remember those tight white shorts. I think Mark had like an extra small on or something. But I couldn't get any closer. And,
Oh, man.
and, you know, and I also think about that day. I do think about our uniforms. You know, Midwest was black, the West was white. You know, I believe the Northeast was blue and the South was red. And we wanted to be the team champs. That was another thing too that we haven't talked about. It's like how super competitive. I remember Bob and I were like, I think the Midwest has a chance. And I just did the scores again, and it looks like the West got us 40-36.
Yep.
So it was a competitive day, but it was also, again, going back to this whole discussion, it's lifelong friendships, lifelong memories, and I'm just glad I had the opportunity to run at Foot Locker because, you know, it's top of the list. It's great.